Hello, Emily Goodwin here with Writers of the Future, and today we have a special guest, Crystal Crawford. Hello, Crystal, and welcome.
Hi, Emily. Thank
Hi.
you for having me.
Absolutely, it's great to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
I am from Brandon, Florida, so in the Tampa, Florida area. Most people have heard of Tampa, but maybe not Brandon.
Hmm.
And I've been in Florida my entire life. um, so I'm like I think a third generation Floridian, something like that.
Wow. Awesome, and you are a writer.
I am.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about your writing. What do you like to write? What projects do you have going on right now?
So I first started writing like YA fiction, contemporary, but I had always wanted to write fantasy. So I write both. My focus right now is fantasy, but I do have some stuff indie published. I have a YA romantic comedy series, and then that's contemporary, and then I have a fantasy series, YA fantasy, and I also have co-written like a comedic sci-fi romance with my friend, and those are all indie published. We're still working to kind of drive traffic to them and get visibility for them, but we get good response from the readers that we do have. But
Great.
it's
Well,
definitely
tell me
slow
what they
growing.
are and where we can find them.
Sure. So my primary series is called The Lex Chronicles. It's available on Amazon. And it's, like I said, a YA fantasy series. And then the newest release is the one that I co-wrote with my friend MJ. And it's called The Extraordinary Extraterrestrial Love Lives of Doppelgangers.
Wow.
And it's kind of like a fun, tongue-in-cheek sci-fi romance. It's definitely not serious sci-fi. It's very lighthearted.
Nice.
So those are the two main ones I have going right now.
Well, with a title like that, that's definitely catchy. Great. Awesome. And so you recently took the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future online workshop, right?
I did, yes.
How did that go?
It was really helpful. So I loved how each of the instructors explained things in their own way, because as I was going through the course, there were a few times where it was something I'd heard before, but the way that it was said struck me differently. So I found it really helpful.
Awesome. And how was that? You were doing these videos one-on-one with these instructors who are also Writers of the Future judges. How was that?
Yes, I really enjoyed the videos. Some of them, like I said, they presented things in their own way, and it was really helpful to hear their perspective on things. Some of the points that they made, I hadn't heard phrased that way or explained that way, and it was really interesting to just hear their different approaches. So.
Yeah. Awesome. And then there were a bunch of essays on the course as well, essays by L. Ron Hubbard and also from Algis Budrys. And so tell me, how did those go?
So the essays, I really enjoyed them. They were really helpful. I think my favorite one was the one on the definition of art, what makes something art. That one was really helpful for me, especially the concept of hitting a minimum proficiency in your technique to be able to communicate your ideas. So the balance between technique and communication was really helpful.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people talking about that specific essay, which, yeah, that makes sense. Great. And so mentioned earlier when we were chatting that you started to formulate a story while you were on this workshop. So what happened with that and what did you end up doing?
So the story that I actually started during the workshop, I decided at the end of the workshop not to continue with, but I actually started a new idea and kind of went back at the beginning of the process and applied. I took a lot of notes while I was doing the online course. So I went back and applied. I flipped through all my notes and was like looking through them to make sure that I was applying everything to the new story. So I did end up writing a story. I just didn't write it at the very moment that I was going through the workshop, but I took tons of notes and they were really helpful.
Great. Okay, well, that's what it's all about. Awesome. And so how did you hear about Writers of the Future?
Just randomly when I had written a short story as a companion to my fantasy series, and I wanted to do something with it. So I started Googling like contests or things I could submit it to, and I found Writers of the Future. I didn't really know much about it, but I read the rules and the qualifications, and I was like, this seems like a cool contest. So I submitted it, and I got an honorable mention on that first story.
Wow.
So then, then I was like, okay, now I need to understand what that means. So I went into the forums, and the forums are really what sucked me in. So I started reading through everything in the forums, trying to understand the contest better. That was the last quarter of volume 35. I've entered every quarter since then. I got a lot of rejections in between until I found the Super Secrets forum, and I started applying some of those. And
Moon.
this,
Well,
yes,
yeah.
and I'm actually participating in the challenge this year that he's doing. So he's got me writing a lot. But I've seen a lot of growth in my writing from what I've been learning in the forums, especially combining that with what I've learned in the course. I feel like my writing is really growing a lot. And this previous quarter, I actually got a silver honorable mention.
Wow.
So
You're like right there.
so glad to break the chain of R's that I had for like the last year.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad you're persistent, and that's important. That's something that just keeps coming up, is just keep persistent. You will make it. I mean, you are so close. If you keep getting honorable mentions and you have a silver honorable mention, I mean, you are talented. There's no question.
Thank you. I'm determined to keep trying. So I just keep every quarter I'm trying to learn and grow more. That's why I took the online course. And so I'm just trying to keep growing, and hopefully one day I'll get there. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to keep trying.
Good for you. That's awesome. Yeah, do. We'd love to see you here in Hollywood for one of the events.
Thank you.
All right, and you mentioned to me that you recently read this volume, the Writers of the Future,
Yes.
volume 36.
I did.
Yeah? How'd you like that one?
I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of really fascinating stories, definitely a lot of talented writers from that volume.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite story?
I think my favorite has to be Leah Ning's. And I'm not just saying that because I knew her from the forum before. But her story was really just beautiful. It made me want to cry. It was just so well done. And I think the art for her story is also my favorite artwork from the book. It was just so well done and just a beautiful piece.
For anybody watching, the story is called Yellow and Pink. Yeah, great story. She's extremely talented, and we can't wait to have her out here in Los Angeles to do the full workshop out here. So, all right, so where can we find more about you? Do you have a website, somewhere we can find your work?
I do. My website is C Crawford, like the letter C from Crystal, ccrawfordwriting.com. And my work is listed there. I have a Facebook page too. It's the same, C Crawford Writing. You can find me mostly just Facebook. I do have an Instagram, but I don't use it very much. So that's where you can find me.
Okay, great. And if they wanted to find your the books that you do have out, would they find them at your website there, or on Amazon, or where would you find them?
They can find them listed on my website, but they're also all on Amazon, in ebook and paperback. So I have an Amazon author account, so hopefully if you search me, you can find me that way too.
Excellent. All right, everybody, Crystal Crawford, look her up. She's an up-and-coming big star in the writing field. Crystal, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, yeah, and good luck with your writing. Hopefully we see you here in LA. I think you're so close. You just keep going.
I hope so, yes.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
Bye.